Hi there, it's Amy from Cakes with Faces, and today is all about sushi. Now, a lot of people go to Genki Sushi in Shibuya in Tokyo. It's a sort of fun twist on the conveyor belt sushi restaurant. You order on a touchscreen and your sushi zooms along to your place. And I noticed that in Japanuary, my Instagram photo challenge back in January, when it was sushi day, a lot of the photos were from Genki Sushi. I think one of the reasons so many people go there is because it's a place you've heard of. There's lots of videos about it online, including mine. It's fun to order on a touchscreen. It's easy if you don't speak Japanese because you don't really need to speak to anyone. And it's cheap. You can order a whole stack of plates and it doesn't cost that much. It's also quite a low pressure place to try sushi, especially if you're not sure if you're going to like everything. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've been there many a time and I've always enjoyed it. However, because so many people go there, it does get pretty busy. You always need to wait for a seat and it always seems to be full of tourists. When I first went to Japan, I thought Genki Sushi was the only place like this with the touchscreens, but as it turns out, there's loads of others that are really similar. There's hundreds of conveyor belt sushi restaurants that are just as fun, just as cheap, and just as easy to order if you don't speak Japanese. You don't have to go to the one place everyone's heard of to have that experience. So today I'm going to show you some of them that are also in Tokyo. There's new Japan videos on my channel every other Thursday if you want to subscribe, and if you want to catch up in between times, I'm on Instagram as Cakes with Faces, and I'm also on Twitter. I'm always posting things I see about Japan. I'm Cakes with Faces on there as well. So on to the sushi restaurants, and the first one, which I kind of have to mention, although maybe it doesn't really count, is Uobei Sushi, which basically is Genki Sushi. It's their sister restaurant. The menu is pretty much identical. It's got the same setup with the touchscreens and the conveyor belt and the same prices as well. It's also in Shibuya and it does also get pretty busy. The next one is Maguro Bito, which is in Akihabara. It's on the 8th floor, the restaurant floor of Yodobashi Camera, which is a huge shop right by Akihabara Station. Yodobashi Camera is worth a visit in itself because it's absolutely huge. They sell everything you can think of. It really is quite interesting to look around. Lots of large shops and department stores and shopping malls have a floor just of restaurants at the top, like this one. I guess if you can eat there, you can spend more time shopping and you never have to leave. I really enjoyed this one, not because there's anything that particularly stands out about it. I just thought the sushi tasted good, or maybe I was extra hungry after a day hunting gachapon in Akiba. Just like Genki Sushi, you order on a touchscreen, you can switch the language to English, and everything has photos so you can see what you're getting, which is really useful if there's something you don't recognise or there's a type of fish you don't know. I think they have a conveyor belt, but I don't think it goes around the whole place. It wasn't where we were sitting. We were sitting at the bar. It's a fairly large restaurant and you feel like you've got a bit of privacy at your space, which is good if you're not sure about sushi or if you feel a bit self-conscious eating right in front of the chef. The other thing I liked about this one was it has avocado sushi, which you don't often see in Japan because it's not a traditional Japanese sushi ingredient, although neither are burgers and Genki Sushi has them. The next one on the list is also in Akihabara. Now this one isn't really like Genki Sushi. It's not a conveyor belt sushi restaurant, but it is a place on my wish list. It's Nadeshico Sushi, and the special thing about this one is it's an all-female sushi restaurant. Now traditionally, sushi chef is supposed to be a job for men, and there's three pretty dubious reasons for this. The first one is that women's perfume was thought to spoil the taste of the sushi. The second one is their menstrual cycles are supposed to cause an imbalance in the taste. And the third one is that women's body temperatures are supposed to be higher, which would spoil the sushi. Now, I don't know how many people believe that. I hope not too many. But Nadeshico Sushi is challenging that with an all-female sushi restaurant. It's not far from the main street in Akihabara. When I tried to go there, unfortunately it was closed, so I'm going to try and go again next time. It's one of those places where you have to go up a dodgy looking staircase between buildings. It's not at street level. You have to look for a sign on the street. You can find it if you search for Nadeshico Sushi on Google Maps. It's quite a small place. Most of the seats are along the bar, so you can see your sushi being made for the authentic experience. Now this is a little more pricey than most of the restaurants I'm going to mention in this video. They have a vegetable sushi set. That one is 3,000 yen and the other sets go up to 8,000 yen. It looks like a really nice place. Most of the sushi restaurants I go to are quite cheap, so I would like to try somewhere a little bit more expensive, a little bit more upscale and see what it's like. And I definitely like to support their female sushi restaurant. Now the next place on the list is called Ganso Sushi, but for a long time I thought this one was called Sushi Go Round because that's the only English on the sign. I really like that name, Sushi Go Round, like a little sushi merry-go-round. This one's a chain. They have several branches in Tokyo and it's a traditional conveyor belt sushi restaurant, so you pick whatever you want off the belt. I think some branches also have touchscreens. This picture's from TripAdvisor. This was actually my first experience of sushi in Japan on my first trip. Now everything on the belt was fish, which I don't eat, so I was teaching myself Japanese at the time and I'd learnt some phrases about how to ask for vegetarian options and somehow I managed to make myself understood. And the guy behind the counter started making me all these rolls with vegetarian fillings and he just kept handing me plates. It was loads more than I could eat. It was really nice of him. I had to get Phil to help me out. Some of the rolls had a filling I didn't recognise, which looked like a kind of red jam, which I realise now was ume, which is pickled plum paste, which wasn't even on the menu, but they made it for me anyway. It was really nice. The next place on the list is Premium Koi Sushi in Odaiba. It's in a shopping mall. There's a video about this one on my channel. It's just like Genki Sushi. You order on a touchscreen, you can switch the language to English and there's pictures of everything. And the sushi zooms to your place. It's even styled like a bullet train. It's quite a large restaurant and when I went there were quite a lot of families with kids. I guess it's fun for the kids with the bullet train. And it's pretty cheap. For the two of us, the bill was £20 or $25. Next is Sushiro, which is a chain that you might have heard of. It's got exactly the same setup as Genki Sushi, touchscreens, English language, conveyor belt, and it's cheap. Personally, I didn't think the sushi here was quite as good as the other places, but it wasn't bad by any means, and maybe it was just what I ordered that day because I know a lot of people really like it. And finally, we've got Himawari Sushi in Shinjuku. Himawari means sunflower, so it's sunflower sushi. Unfortunately, I don't have any pictures or video of this one because everyone's sitting around a central island quite close together and it didn't really feel like a sort of place I could whip out my camera. There were a lot of other people there and I didn't want to make people feel uncomfortable. This one has a conveyor belt. It doesn't have touchscreens, so you pick what you want off the belt and there is a menu so you can place an order with the waiters. The menu has English on it and it has tiny pictures of all the dishes so you can see what everything is. This one felt a little bit less gimmicky, a bit less like a fast food restaurant and more serious about the sushi. So I hope that shows you that a lot of these places are actually quite similar. There's loads of fun and cheap places to get sushi in Japan. Lots of them have conveyor belts and touchscreens and English menus, so if that's what you want, you don't have to go to Genki Sushi. I'd really encourage you to just try out random places you come across, make your own discoveries and find your own special favourite place. There's also places like standing sushi bars, which literally are just that. You stand up to eat your sushi, there are no chairs, so you can have a quick bite to eat and then move on. And they're often really cheap, about 100 yen per plate. And if you get the chance, you should definitely try sushi at a fish market. As well as selling the whole fish, there'll also be stalls that will prepare sushi and seafood rice bowls for you. They're usually not quite as cheap as all the places I've mentioned in this video, but they're not that bad and it's very fresh. And they're just interesting places to look round as well. As well as the famous Tsukiji and Toyosu markets in Tokyo, most places around the coast will have them as well. I've really enjoyed visiting them and I don't even eat fish. They usually have fresh fruit and vegetables and other sorts of street food as well. So tell me what your experiences are of sushi in Japan, and do you have any places you'd recommend? Tell me in the comments, and I'll see you not next week but the week after on Thursday. Bye bye.